Hi everyone, welcome to Artist Palette. My name's Karin. Today we are drawing the little BB-8. A super cute, pretty easy. So we'll get started in a few minutes. I'll wait for more people to join, obviously. So maybe grab some tools. You're going to need a HB pencil, just like a regular standard drawing pencil. I also have a 4B pencil, so that's optional. It's just to help with darker areas. It gives you like so basically the higher the number on the bottom of your pencil, the thicker the lead, and then the darker areas you're going to get. So it's just easier to draw like the black areas. You don't really need it if you don't have it, so it's okay. You'll need an eraser, some Q-tips for smudging, and some tissue paper. So a Kleenex or toilet paper will work fine. I don't know if I'll use the toilet paper, but just in case. Maybe while we wait for people to join in, you can tell me where you're tuning in from. You see there's some youngins, so don't give out your private information, but maybe the place where you come from. Florida, cool. I'm up in Ontario, Canada. Howdy. Love that. I'm going to wait till a little after 6. I'll repeat my tool list again after everybody, once I get a few more viewers. We'll just sit tight. Maybe you guys can tell me who your favorite Star Wars character is, or if you have any suggestions for another live free drawing you want done. I'm going to take a little break from the Star Wars characters because I've already done Yoda. Someone's done Darth Vader and BB-8. So maybe if you can... Ooh, Chewbacca. I love Chewbacca. He's fun. He'd be a fun one to draw for sure. If you want, for the circle, maybe grab something you can trace. If you don't feel comfortable just doing a circle, you can always trace something that's too small. Maybe like a little saucer plate or something, depending on the size paper you have. I've kind of already drawn my circle out just so I know how big I want to go. So I want to try and make it the same. It's about, yeah, maybe like a little teacup plate would be nice. Howdy, howdy. I'm stealing that from you, Belinda. Howdy. It's cute. We don't hear that often in Canada. I'll probably wait till maybe like a couple minutes after 6. So oh, sorry if it defocuses. I have to do this weird thing with my hand where it I have to slowly get it to focus back down to my drawing. It's my silly webcam. It might happen kind of frequently in my tutorial, so It's just going to be a little weird. You just have to like slowly get it back down. Stay. Good job. Durham is like kind of near Toronto, like it's like the greater Toronto area. Toronto's just above, it's like kind of beside Detroit, I think. It's about to rain where I am, yeah. Looks like I have a good amount of people starting to view, so no, I'm still using the same camera. It's from the last one. If you joined my, what did I do last time? I forget my last free one I did. Oh, it was Baby Yoda. Yeah, it's the same camera, unfortunately. So, but I've learned a little trick, so I know how to get it to refocus. So hopefully it'll stay put. So anytime it defocuses, I'll just take a moment to try and fiddle with it. It's very annoying. I'm going to get started on the outline. As people kind of join in, they can start. Well, they might just miss it, but that's okay. Oh, that's annoying. Come on. There we go. Okay, so for my tools, I'm just using an HB pencil. So that's just a regular standard drawing pencil. It tells you at the bottom of your pencil if you have like a nice set, like what it means. So HB is just like a regular standard drawing pencil. And then the 4B, it's optional. You don't have to have this. If you don't have these at home, then it's no big deal. The 4B is basically the higher the number on the pencil, the thicker the lead, the darker kind of shade of black you'll get. So I just use that black to get that nice kind of pungent contrast in the little camera thing he's got there, or whatever that is, his eyeball. And just like in here. So if you don't have that, don't worry, you can still achieve the drawing. You just might have to do a few sort of layers to get that really heavy black. Also using some Q-tips for smudging, unless you have paper stumps. Paper stumps should look like this, but white. Mine are very used. Yeah, they're like little rolled papers, basically. An eraser and a tissue paper, maybe. It's always just good to have it on hand, so Kleenex or tissue paper. So I'll give you guys a minute to go grab those, and we'll get started on the outline. I'll always tell you when I'm switching my pencils, so don't stress. Basically, you can also tell the difference. That's my regular pencil. That's the one I'm always going to be using. And then my 4B is my longer pencil, and that's just going to be for the really heavy black areas. So I'll tell you when I'm switching though. Okay, so we're going to get started with the body. So it's just a big circle, basically. Circles are hard, so if you want to trace something, like maybe a little saucer, like a little plate, something that's like maybe even just like a teacup plate, you know how they're like a little bit smaller than like a saucer plate. You can also, circles they can be hard, so if you kind of go fast, go nice and light. So try not to like press too heavy. When you press really heavy, you have to commit to that line where we're just trying to get the rhythm. So if you kind of just go around nice and soft. I kind of already outlined my circle just so I could stay at the same shape. So I'm kind of cheating a little bit. I just had it sort of drawn out, just so I knew how big to go. My cat is getting into some garbage right now. If you hear some crinkling, it's just my cat. And then easy peasy from there, we're just going to build the head. So kind of like he's tilted to give him that little tilt because it makes him look like he's moving. So kind of off centers. It doesn't really matter if it's centered or not, but just to give him that look. Okay, we're going to come up kind of on the one side. See how it's not like center, it's kind of off center. So 2 little lines. And then start to go straight up about an inch or so. Okay, and then make your curve. And now we can maybe start over here. So straight sort of. And then you can kind of join into that. If you have any questions while we're going, or if I'm going too fast, just let me know. I'll kind of try to keep a nice pace. So basically what we're going to do is fill in. I like to fill in the top first and then work my way down so I'm not smudging my work underneath. So let's just go straight for that head and start filling them in. So we're going to start with all of the little lines and all that craziness. So kind of down in the bottom here, give a little line across. Okay, and it's arched, so you're following this line. So it's the same. So it's not straight across, it's got that a little bit of a curve in it. So you're following that top of the ball thing there. And then underneath those is all these little squares. So you can start at the bottom. And we're just working our way across. Little tiny squares. Keep the tops of them like going with that curve as well. You always want to like work in a parallel line. Just warning you that there's this huge thunderstorm coming in. So hopefully my power doesn't go out, and if it does, we can reschedule, or I'll just video this at another time, just so you're aware, just in case that happens. So over top of the squares, I'm just doing a few little lines. So like one line, skip a beat, another line. We're just kind of filling in a little bit of detail. It's not really anything crazy or important, so don't stress if it doesn't look similar. And then right over top of that first line we did, we're going to do one more line. So kind of from these little corners where that piece ended. And it's the same idea. We're just going right across. So it's kind of like his neck, like it's underneath his neck. There's all this stuff here. So now we can fill that in. So I'm going to switch to my 4B pencil. If you don't have one and you're just using an HB pencil, that's totally fine. You can still achieve it. Basically, we're just shading the little neck area. I'm using my 4B, and I'm just using the side of the pencil. I'm not pressing hard at all. So I'm not using the tip of my pencil, because the tip's going to make all these little line marks. Like when you use the tip, it makes like lines, whereas when you use the side, it fills in more area faster. Okay, and just starting from the center, and kind of as you go out from the center, just lighten up very, very soft. Soft, soft, soft. And so it's just a little bit of shading. Oh, did it go out of focus? Like with the side of my pencil? So I just used the side of my pencil and shaded from the center. So I'm like working my way out from the center. As you get to the edges, they're lighter. Okay, and that was just with my 4B pencil. You can still do it with your HB pencil. And then I'm just gonna darken some lines. Sometimes you lose your lines when you do some shading. So I just want those lines a little bit heavier. Make them stand out a little bit. I like to get I like my darks dark and my whites white. Or my lights light, I should say. And then right above that top line that we just did, do a very thin line. So now we're just very tight to that other line. We're just making a little line across. There's one. And then another one, but it's a little bit thicker. So there's like a little thin line and then a thick line. And then like in that little thin line, I'm just putting like little lines across, little vertical lines. I did like 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't really matter. Okay, and then on that thicker one, I'm going to do maybe some other lines. 1, 2, maybe 3. It doesn't matter. You're just kind of filling it in. Okay, I'm just using my HB still to shade. We just wanted that darker shadow down in here, but now I want a lighter shadow. So from the edge, I'm just filling in those little areas, just using the side of my pencil. And you don't have to completely fill it in. You're just kind of putting in some gray in those little sections that we just divided. Okay, so it's quick, like I kind of do dark on the edge and then lighten up. So you don't press too hard. So you're just kind of filling it in gray, but you don't have to fill it all in gray. So leave some little white parts. It's just quick little delete. Okay, and then we're gonna build the little part that's kind of circling that eyeball. Everything kind of, that's the main focus. So we kind of want to get that going first. So maybe start kind of off center. Well, maybe it's centered, just a little bit. So we're coming up straight. Try and go nice and light with your outline so that, you know, if you make a mistake, it's easier to erase. And then we're making like a little box. Come up on the other side. Doesn't really matter how far. And just make like a little box. It almost looks like a little chair. And then from there, we're going to build sort of like this little section, because it kind of sticks into that other section. So come up on top of that chair a bit, like ever so slightly, and give a little curve. You can bring that around and then back down. Okay, so you got a curve and then it kind of goes straight. And then there's right off from that, it's like a little line connecting to the edge. And now we can kind of build that eyeball part. So I'm just building the line that goes around it. So kind of coming off from that little curved piece is just a rounded. It's going to be, the top of it's going to be blocked off from the eyeballs. So don't worry about that. I don't know if it's an eyeball. I'm just going to call it that. Whatever. It's machinery, so. All right, so let's build that eyeball. So this part's going to be a little awkward because it's like a circle but on an angle. So we're going to start with this circle of it. So it's kind of off. That it kind of connects into that line that you just did. And it's like a little bit flatter over here. So it's kind of like still curved, but not like a perfect circle. It kind of builds off of that. Like this part's a little bit more flat. And then a little line that kind of goes around the outside of it. Just like it kind of connects halfway. Okay. And then, so we're going to build all the little lines and then we'll fill it all in. So this line, that like seat of that chair thing we did, it comes out a little bit. And then do like a rounded rectangle and then back in. And down here, we're just going to make a bunch of boxes pretty much. So you can do like one little square off the edge of that chair. And then they're all at the same height. And so like think again that we're going in parallel lines. So I'm not going straight across. I'm keeping that bend. So all my little boxes are like on this like bend happening. So go straight up. This one's going to be a longer rectangle. So see how it's on a curve? It's still going with this shape where we're curving it because that's what helps make something look rounded. One box, and then I did a really, gave it a little space, and then a really skinny rectangle, and then a space, and then a little box that comes off the side. 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. And there's one random thing off the side here. It's just kind of like a, I don't know, like a little box. And we're going to build all these little guys up here. This one's a thin little rectangle. And the edge of it, like to end it, is like on a little diagonal. It's not like straight down. It's got like a little right there. And then like a little headband. And just cut off the top a little bit. I might have to erase some. I need to see my top a little bit. Ooh, can you guys hear that thunder? Crazy. It's rumbling. And then there's like another, if you can fit one, you can squeeze one in over here. If not, don't worry about it. I kind of ran out of room. Doesn't matter too much. Okay, so now we can start filling them in. So let's start with that. Let's kind of maybe work our way up. So I'm going to use my 4B pencil. Again, if you just have your HB, that's fine. I'm just using the side of it. And so I'm not filling in each little box completely. Like it's not just pure black. Like I'm just kind of very softly adding a little bit of shadow in there. Oh, wait. Sorry. Inside this longer rectangle, before we fill that in. There's two little rectangles in there, and I'm just using my HB pencil to fill that in. So one's white, and then one's filled in black. So you can just fill that in with your HB. So one white, one black. And then I'm just taking my 4B and just kind of using the side of my pencil and kind of filling that in quickly. It's just like a little delete, really quick. Don't think about it. All those little squares. And give like darker outlines if you like. Inside this bigger one, so that part of the little chair thing underneath the eyeball, okay, there's two circles, or like one circle and then an outline. So on the right side of that box, it's like a little, fill that in black, okay, and then another circle outlining that one. So there should be like a little white gap in between that. Okay, and now with my HB, so I'm just using my HB right now, just very lightly filling in that box. Okay, we're going to actually fill in a few boxes right now. We also have to add that little knob. Okay, very light gray, because BB-8 is white, technically. He's like white and orange, but you'd still have, even though something's white, it'd still be filled in, and we're working in black and white scale. So just all these little parts, just kind of fill it in. Okay, now the only thing over here on this left side of his head is like right in this big center piece. Okay, we're going to try and leave that a little bit white. So push your gray nice and softly. So I'm going like, you want it to fade out. You don't want it to just stop. You don't want shadow to just end abruptly. Okay, so I'm just kind of pushing that shadow very lightly in towards the center. You can even add a little tiny bit of, actually I'll just make it easier. Just fill it in and we'll erase it. Make a highlight. Okay, you can take your eraser and just like in the center there, erase like a little, just swiggle down kind of in the center, like swiggle, swiggle. There's your highlight. Easy peasy. So let's work back over here, and we're going to do that little knob thing. Okay, so it's kind of like a little square, or no. Sorry, do like a little curve. Two little edges on it. Looks like a C, little C shape. Okay, and then on the right hand of that, just make a circle, or more of like an oval. You can fill in that oval black. You can fill in that C part kind of black, but you don't, as you get close to that oval, kind of fade out. You just want it to stick out a little bit. You don't want it to just be full black, because then you'll lose the shape of it. And then around it is a oval. Okay, so do like one line or one circle, connects back in, so it looks like a big, it almost looks like a C shape. Okay, and then another line, same shape outside. So basically just make that C shape very thick. Okay, so you can fill that in black. Just making a big oval around that knob. If you can, there's like a teeny tiny little box in that corner. You fill that in black. Basically, you just kind of think of like a machine and how you can kind of fake a lot of things, just toss in little boxes and stuff. Makes it look more busier. Okay, and now we're going to add some shading or some like roughness to him. So like little dents and little rougher kind of metal scratches and stuff. So I'm going to come up to my camera. It will kind of have a little panic attack and freak out and be like, ah, when I come back down. So if it defocuses, don't stress. It'll just take a moment. But I just want to show you up close what I'm doing. Okay, so like in the edges, like around the little outlines of things, focus, you can do like little zigzaggy kind of doesn't really matter, just like little rough points, you know, coming up from the, I'm just using my HB. Maybe over here in the rounded part, okay, there's like teeny tinier, kind of random little dents and dots, and maybe there's like this part of another box happening. Okay, all in these little edges of, so just kind of fill them in that way. So we'll take a second. I'm going to refocus my camera so you can just continue doing that for a second. I'm going to add it all around. This one's going to look really black and white, like really heavy contrast. It's just because it's printed. I printed it off because I don't have my original anymore because I sold it. So it's just going to, like, if you want that like heavier black and white, you can just play around with it. So just kind of like in the little, around the outlines of things, add those little swiggles. Okay, and then you can fill in these pieces up here. I'm going to use my 4B. Again, if you're just using a regular pencil, it's fine. Okay, and they're just like, I just kind of filled it in. Not fully black, like the outline's black and the inside's kind of like a dark gray. And the like headbandy part up here, same thing. And put some little lines in there, like really black little lines, if you can even see them. And this little box, this little side box. So add his little antennas. I'm just going to use my 4B. So it's just like a little line, like teeny tiny, really skinny, itty bitty little sticks. So there's a short one, and then a long one. So I just went up and then came back down. So now we can fill in his eyeball. So if you look at it, like the top of it is kind of like white. So to give it that glow that it's sort of like a globe, you need that highlight. So using my 4B pencil, if you're using an HB, just press really hard when we're going for that black area. So down in the bottom. So maybe let's make our highlight first. So it's kind of like kind of imagine a yin-yang shape. See how it's like, it's like a little yin-yang. Yep, this will be up forever. Once the live event is done, it just saves automatically to YouTube and you can watch it at any time. So then at the bottom of that little yin-yang, just sort of fill that in black. I'm going to come up the side, you can outline the outer part. Okay, inside that yin-yang, maybe do one little black line sort of randomly on top, like a little scoop. Okay, and then we want to kind of fade that in. We don't want it to be pure white. So I'm just going to take my Q-tip and just use the lead that's already on the page and push into that white area. So it just makes it nice and gray. Okay, you can kind of play around, push a little bit more black into that gray. Okay, if you want to lighten it up, maybe just take your eraser and maybe just in the down, like a little bit of white. Just going to erase some of it. There's still a little bit of a highlight. Easy peasy. Well, I still have my 4B pencil. We're going to just outline underneath the neck. I'm just going to make that really black under there. Make a nice dark line. And now we can start working on the bottom. So first, we're going to make all the circle shapes. Okay, so kind of with our first one, it's maybe starting like over here, like more halfway than the neck. And the longer, more on the right side, and you're coming down. So it's like a semicircle. Like think of like a soccer ball or something. There's one. Okay, and that's got a double line to it. And that should have scooped. Okay, so coming off, so imagine this outer line just continues. Okay, so it's just an extension of that outer line and then come back around and follow that same shape. Okay, so it's coming up the body and around. Okay, this one should have been like that too, sorry. So I went right to the edge, but it should just be an extension of that outline. Okay, so it looks like it's going around the back of him. That's one. And we got another one down here. Okay, and again, Just an extension of that. We're coming around and back in. Okay, and one more. This one's a little bit more full. Okay, so we're seeing like a lot more of a circle here. Okay, so do this one as big, 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 big. Okay, and then that inner line, so you're kind of just like another little teeny tiny line. Like we're seeing almost a full circle here. Okay, so this is my edge, so I'm going in like a little millimeter. Okay, and just following that same shape around. And trying to make a circle. It's more of an oval. I have to play with it a little bit. So you're seeing just a sliver of it over there. Yeah, you can use a number 2 pencil. Basically, it's just to add like a heavier black, nice contrast to it. You don't even need to use your like higher number pencils, but I just find it easier to like make that really contrasted black. Just makes things pop more. I like my darks dark and my lights light. Then it makes a nice contrast. Okay, so let's just go circle by circle. It'll be nice and easy. Actually, first let's make those little connecting lines. So kind of like midway, just a line. Beep. It's got like a little bit of it's not straight. It's got like a teeny tiny curve to it. Itty bitty. This one's a little bit more straight up here. And this one. It looks like a soccer ball. Okay, so now we'll just go circle by circle. It'll be nice and easy peasy that way. Some weird shapes in them. So let's first start with, there's like this kind of like rectangle shape. And that's going to kind of determine where we're going to put that weird key looking thing. Okay, so it's got a little bit of curve. We're on an angle here. Doot doot. And then off of that, so we're using this as a guideline as to where to put this weird thing. Okay, so start right beside that with a line. So it's not connecting, so it's just right beside it. And then just do like a big curve. If yours doesn't end up looking like this, like the shape, don't worry about it. It's just machinery. You can kind of make it just whatever. You come down, make a little box kind of sticking out. And then down. And another box coming in. So it's like a jack-o'-lantern mouth almost. I'm probably not going to get this right. And then come back in. And then it has like a little upside down L. Okay, and then go with the curve of that circle. another little box thing, and then just join it back in. Might even make that bigger, actually. So it should take up most of that circle, so I'm just gonna make mine slightly bigger. If you are comfortable with the way yours is, don't change it. Just want it slightly bigger. And then we're gonna make another kind of rectangle shape, but they're kind of rounded, so kind of in this little corner here. Okay, give it like a rounded top almost. Come back down. Right beside that is a rectangle shape, but it's going with the curve. So remember, we're always working in parallel lines. When something's round, you want to keep that round shape by making everything kind of go with the, like when you're working in lines, always like work together. It's just parallel lines. This one's got a curve to continue that and come kind of straight out now. And then just continue that curve on the other side. Yep. Just connect that. And then we're doing another one of these little things. It's like a little rectangle, rounded top, and it's kind of going back into his neck. Okay, easy peasy. Inside those little rectangles is like little circles, like that shape where it's got a circle and then one outside of it. So just do like a little black dot and then a white circle around it. Easy peasy. Inside that weird awkward shape is a box with a tiny box inside of it. It's kind of on an angle. There's like a tiny little rectangle at the bottom of that weird thing. It's like in the corner. You can just add things. Just make it look busy. Make it look... Doesn't really have to be the same. I put little lines inside this guy. 4 little lines. Okay, so now we're going to fill that in. So let's start with our weird... actually, sorry. One more thing. There's connections in this bigger circle area. Just do a little line down. And this line here that connects actually creates another little box inside there. So just extend that line into that circle. Remember to keep a parallel line. So it's got a curve and then down. Just like a little box. And there's something over here. There's like a one line there. And then like a weird little shape. Like a little box shape. Like a little mushroom or something. I don't know, doesn't matter. And then a box coming off that circle. So come straight out and keep that curve going. Curve and back in. It's like one of those boxes where it's not really filled in. Just weird little machinery. Okay, now we can fill it in. So I'm going to switch to my 4B. And let's start with that weird shape one. So I want it to be dark on the one side and then fade out to be light. Okay, so I'm using the side of my pencil and just as I get further away from the edge, it becomes lighter. So you always want to make a like a fade. People call it ombre. It's not really the technical art term, but it's easier to understand that way. So it's dark to light. We're trying to get from black to gray to white. Okay, I did it a little bit too gray, so I'm going to take my eraser and just make a little highlight in there. Just a quick little beep. To re-outline things. Oops, sorry. Hold on. No! Focus. I need something to focus on. Come on. Check out my hand. Oh. Okay, and focus down. Yay! Okay, I got it. Okay, and then same idea with like everything else where you're just sort of trying to fade things. So we're just kind of filling in all these little boxes. Okay, go from dark to light. This one I did from the top of it and worked my way down. Yeah, added like little slashes, like little, you know, those little markings in here. I just did a few of those inside that. You can do them in here too. Just quick little things. And this guy is mostly just dark. Okay, oops, one more little box. Okay, the inside of that circle is mostly, it's light, so I'm just using my HB pencil and just going very, 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 very soft. Very, 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 very soft. Okay, because he's white. Not even, there's no pressure in my hand. It's just super light. Okay, and then those markings that I had done up in here, I'm doing them down here, but I'm kind of keeping them in like a little circle. Like I'm kind of making like a just kind of throwing them in there like little dents, so you can do like little spots. Maybe a little shadowing around the weird little box shape things. Yes, I had to use the force there. Get that silly camera in focus. So now we're going to fill in the outer circle. Now it's just like down here, so like kind of at the bottom where it's white. So I'm using my 4B just because it's easier. You don't have to. I might do it with my HB so that I just wanted to see how other people are doing it, if it's easier for you. Okay, again, using the side of my pencil, just filling it all in. See how light that is? That's why I like to use that 4B to get that heavy contrast. And then as I come down to the bottom, it's just nice and light. Okay, and then dark coming in from this edge here. So it's a nice fade. Maybe outline. Sometimes you'll lose your dark outline when you do that. Okay, if you want them to look shiny, you can take that grain out by smudging it using the Q-tip. I'll kind of make them nice and shiny. Okay, the only thing is that you're going to push your lead around, so you're going to lose your highlight. So you can just go back in with your eraser and just kind of smudge back in. Kind of makes it look more metal. Okay, getting that like really white highlight makes it more shiny. And then you can add those little scratch marks in there, like just random little lines or dents. Easy peasy. Let's jump down to the bottom circle. Actually, no, let's just do like little sections. We'll just go boop, 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 boop. Just might as well. This one, I'm just filling in gray. I'm using my HB pencil, just quickly sort of filling that in. You can smudge if you like. We'll get that nice little... You could smudge these up here too if you want to get rid of that grain, but just do that on your own time if you like. Okay, so I'm just want to get that nice shiny metal look. So I'm just going to give it a little smudge and then highlight using my eraser, kind of like just the center. So I'm just zigzagging it. Just pull it in there. You don't want to just like a perfect block of eraser. It's just like a quick little smudge. You might have to smudge back into your white, so you always want to kind of mix your shadow and your highlight together so it just has a nice even blend. Okay. Inside that is like a little circle, teeny tiny circle with a little circle around it. Okay. Teeny tiny, and then all your little dents, all your little scratchy marks, so kind of around the outside, or outside the outline. I'm just giving like little scratchy random. Sometimes I just zigzag and go right for it, quick. Any little dots, maybe like quick little dent marks. Easy peasy. Let's do this section up here because it's all the same now. So this whole section, just the highlights are different. So just fill it in gray with your HB pencil. And give it a little smudge. Basically, like the around the outlines are like the heaviest gray you want. And then in the center of that, again, it's just like a quick little, I just kind of zigzag my eraser really quick. And then push that shadow back into it around the edge of it. So it just kind of fades out. So it's like a nice little ombre highlight. Okay, and then all your little, there's two little circles. Again, those like teeny tiny circle with a surrounding circle. I don't know what they are. Maybe like little screws. Okay, this one over here is like teeny tiny. Okay, and then all your little scratchy marks. So I just press a little harder sometimes. So you want it like a little bit darker than the sorry, up here underneath that neck, you want a bit of a darker shadow. Sorry, I forgot about that. Just toss that in and just use the side of my pencil just to give it a little quick little shadow. Easy peasy. Maybe use your 4B to re-outline some edges, some outlines. This middle section, there's like a little box coming off. So that's part of this one. So just like midway, maybe right here, just add like a rounded box. Like the top is rounded. So only like the one side goes through that circle and then connects back into the outer circle. Okay, and then you can fill that in. So same idea. We're just using the side of our pencil. Give it a little smudge. With this one, you can, this is why you want tissue paper, because it's such a big section to smudge with your Q-tip. So I just kind of wrap my finger in the tissue. You never really want to use your finger when you're smudging because you have oils on your hand and it can ruin your paper and it's hard to work over top and you make like a little fingerprint sometimes. So I just use a little tissue paper. It's a quick little thing. Okay, and then the center, like your highlight, is kind of following that shape. See how it's kind of like a little thing there? So I'm just sort of going quick. Okay, and then you can use your Q-tip to smudge back into it. Use a used Q-tip so it has lead on it. And then you can kind of darken. So with this one, because it's a little bit bigger and like has more detail, I added a little bit more shadowing. So just with my HB, I kind of went around and I didn't smudge the shadow. I kind of kept that grainy look to it. So I'm just kind of adding a little bit more shadow on the edges. You can smudge them. Maybe I'll smudge a little bit. Just give it a little quick little smudge. And then there's like those little knobby circles. They're kind of like going like this. Like there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're kind of like on a track, sort of. Okay, and then your little dents and little markings. And this one's going to have a lot more. I kind of go around my edges. And they're just like little scribbles. I don't really think too much about it. They're just, it's kind of like to make them look a little bit more rough. He's been driving over things and getting hit by little lightsabers and stuff. Thank you. Re-outline some things. When you smudge, you kind of take away some of that lead, so just give your things a little bit more of an outline. Now let's do that little bottom section, and then we'll continue with the circles. There's like another little box thing like this that kind of comes out from the bottom there. It's just kind of straight out and then hooks back into the circle. There's nothing really to it. Okay, and then just fill that in. Give it a little smudge. And the highlight's just like in the bottom of that. So it's kind of coming in from smudge back in. Always, again, you always want a nice fade. You don't want just like highlight shadow. You want it to like be a gradual thing. I might accentuate or darken my shadow a little bit more, kind of at that edge. And then you can add in your little, again, there's like that little circle, these little knob things. So it's just kind of on that same track. If you didn't follow a track, don't worry about it. And then your little scratchy, denty things. And I just kind of scribble in, throw in some little dots and lines. Boom. All right, so now if you don't want to smudge your work, maybe grab a blank piece of paper. I should have told you that in the beginning. Just like a scrap piece of paper, and put it underneath your hand so that you're not smudging. Like say this is regular paper. Don't use tissue paper because it'll smudge your work, but just like a piece of paper and put it, hold on. Ooh, come back down. There we go. Focus. Focus. Use the force. No. Yes, I got it. And then put your hand on the paper so it doesn't smudge the work underneath. Just don't use tissue paper. I'm not going to use it just so you can see my whole image the whole time. Okay, so let's do this circle. So it has a weird little box thing. I don't even know. I think it's one of these rectangle things. So there's like a little one of these rounded rectangles coming off the side here. Okay, and coming off of that is another rectangle. Okay, it doesn't go right to that other edge, so keep it away from the like this one. And then one of these rounded out rectangle things. And then there's like a circle. So we got, start with your oval. Actually, no, it's going to be easier to teach this. So remember to, so it's just an extension. So there's like a little circle here. There's an you're extending that line, okay, growing out from the edge, and you're coming into a circle and growing back in. Okay, so it's like it hooks back in. It doesn't just go straight onto the side. It's an extension of your outer line. You might go, oops. I made that a little bit too ovally. I want it a little bit more round. And then there's a little circle inside of that. So remember to try and, it's kind of like this one where we're seeing like a sliver of it. Sliver of the side there. Those are hard. Don't worry if you didn't get it perfect. Mine isn't perfect. And then another sort of rectangle shape, but it's kind of like scooping in. Kind of seeing it a little bit more on this weird angle. It's pretty well lit for that one. And then with this outer line, I'm just seeing that I need to round it out a bit. Yeah, circles are weird. They're just a bizarre, they're so perfect. That's the thing with kind of drawing them. So now we got to make our little sections. So just like a line. And this one's different. It's got a center line actually coming off of that. So just right down that. Those two lines. There's another line. And then we got three little lines in here. Okay, so then we'll just fill in. This circle too has two lines. And a line and a line. Okay, so now we'll just start filling in. So that inner circle, we're gonna just do kind of like this, where we're just filling it in gray, give a little smudge, and highlight. The highlight's gonna be small, so I just kind of did like a little J or whatever. Okay, and then you can add little scratchy marks inside of that. Just make it look busy. This guy here has 4 tiny white rectangles beside each other. Itty bitty, teeny tiny rectangles. And then we're just going to fill that in dark. So I'm using my 4B and even that weird little shape beside it. Okay, again, dark to light. Kind of go around those little rectangles as much as you can. Okay, we'll fill in this little circle as well with that 4B. Basically just try and get really light near those little lines. So it's like kind of black in behind on the edge. And as you kind of get to those little dividing lines, just get nice and soft. You can give it a little smudge if it's hard to get there. This one, just pick a side to be your darker side. The dark side. Haha. Wow, that sounded very nerdy. Oh dear. And just kind of fade out. Get nice and light. Again, if you just want to smudge it out, kind of easier to fade it off with a little smudge. Okay, and then basically we're just filling in these little rectangles. Just remember that there's little circles in them. So just like these little knob things. A little circle and then a surrounding circle. And you can fill those in. I kind of just went from dark at that outline and then as it kind of comes to the top of it, faded it out a little bit. You can just, I'm just going to smudge it. I find it easier to do. So I just add a little lead to the bottom and then smudge. Okay, and then the outer circle thing. Maybe double line those 3 lines. So I'm going to come up real close. Yeah, that's very true, Sarah. So see right beside those lines, I put another line because I want to keep it white right beside those dark lines. So, because they're supposed to be popping out, it's like a little grill thing. So, ooh, it focused perfectly. Thanks, webcam. So I just want to keep like a little white section beside those dark things, those dark lines. Okay, so just kind of, you might have to just fill in, be nice and easy going around them. Or don't even worry about it. It's just a teeny tiny detail. Okay, and then fade out. So I'm going dark to light. So the lightest part is on the edge. And then this one is just kind of dark all around. Maybe it can fade up to be a little lighter at the top here. Again, you can kind of just smudge it out to fade into a highlight. You might have to re-darken your lines again. Ah. Okay, and then the inner part is just like this stuff. So you're just filling it in gray. There's not really, well, there's a little bit of a highlight, like right in this bigger area. Just using my HB pencil to fill that in. Just a quick little da-da-da-da. Well, thanks, Miko. I'll have to check you out. Maybe we can, excuse me, maybe we can learn some things from each other. And then, yeah, just highlight that little part there. Just quick little beep, beep, beep. Fade back in. And then your little scribbly stuff. There we go, one more circle to go. So, let's start. So back to my HB pencil. Where's my pencil sharpener? Okay, sorry. Let's start with this weird little rectangles because everything's kind of framed in it. Actually, it should be longer. I lied. I'm gonna one coming off the edge here. And then one of those rectangle boxes. It's got the bend in it. Right. I make really weird noises sometimes. Just ignore me. Another one of those things coming out. Remember those little things have circles in them? Circle knobbies. That thing has a tiny little rectangle box thing in it. Okay, up here. So this thing's like facing out, so it's kind of like a weird perspective here. So remember, like how I said, we're working in parallel lines. So this, like this scoop here should determine this scoop here. So they're parallel to each other. Okay, so it's like the same arch. And then just straight across. There's like a little box off of that, inside of that. And then this shape is weird. So let's start with these things, because it kind of works around it. I got one. And then let's do, this shape is stressful. Let's go like up and around it. So we're just going to build a box around that thing. Okay, keep a parallel line. So we're going with that shape. It helps if you make the weird sounds. Okay, and then there's one of these things again. Remember, put your little knob thing in it. This one's like short and fat. Okay, now we're building around that. Your little knob in. Okay, so it's just like just kind of boxing those things in. And then you're coming up straight, or on an angle there, sorry. And then a scoop. And then straight across. And then a scoop down, connecting. Yeah, it's very weird. Thanks, Joanna. Love seeing ya. And inside that weird shape is like two little boxes down here, just coming off the edge. A little rectangle, like skinny little rectangle up in here. And like a weird half L shape thing. Easy peasy. Okay, so now we just fill. So let's just do the gray part first, nice and easy. So again, it's just like everything else, so use your HB and give it a little fill in. I would love to see these afterwards, so if you are on Facebook, I'll make a post inside the event. So just go to like Artist Palette Durham Facebook and go under the events. It might be under past events or upcoming events. And I'll make like a little comment section and you guys can post your results. I'd love to see it. Bunch of BB-8s. The highlight for that would just kind of be all around that stuff. Just kind of give a little swiggle in there, a little swiggle. And then smudge back into it. And then your little rough stuff. I always go right for the outlines first, usually. I just use like the side of my pencil for that. It's like quick little scribbles. I really don't have to look like anything. And then we're just filling in the rest. I'm using my my 4B. And basically like this side is highlighted, so everything kind of, the shadows kind of just working, going towards the left. So just maybe just add your 4B lead into the corner of each little thing and then smudge the rest out. Gives it that nice kind of shinier, kind of want it to look shiny. So you don't even have to erase and make a highlight. You just kind of smudge it out. I'm just going to add that heavier lead in the corner and then smudge. I should have done that up here, but I didn't. You can fix those if you like. Sometimes I learn to teach as I'm teaching. These little rectangle things, just do the bottom, smudge to the top. Remember to give them an outline again. Yes, Diana, I actually do. So, oh, I should have brought it down. I have a spray. It's up in my garage, though. It's by Winsor Newton brand. And it's kind of like basically like a hairspray for art or pencil. So you just give it like a quick little spray, and then it kind of prevents your stuff from smudging over time. Doesn't completely like prevent it, but it definitely makes a big difference. I know, I noticed that too, Sarah. It does look like a weird face. He's like, eh. Looks like an angry, like, monster. Okay. Now, this one, we just gotta do those little dividing lines in this guy. Whoops. So, oh, we got that one. And there's, sorry, 3 little boxes down here. So they're like these ones, but we're seeing a little bit more of it. So they're teeny tiny rectangles. Itty bitty, 3 little, it's like that, I don't know, like a little grill looking thing. There's 3 thingies. A dividing line down here. And there's one of these like half lines again. I don't know what they are. Where it kind of goes right down the middle of the circle. And then we fill in. So I did this one basically in here's dark and dark, so it's lighter on the outside of the ball thing. His little body. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I put it, yeah, you can frame them. I frame all my art pieces. Not all of them, but I mean the ones I keep for myself. And like I've noticed, like my one that I have hanging beside me, I've had it in a frame for like 10 years now, and it's doesn't seem to have affected it at all. So well, thanks guys. I'm glad you guys enjoyed yourself. I'm glad I'm finding a way to use this silly webcam. Last time was so stressful. I was like almost gonna cry. Like, so frustrating when you're trying to work and silly little things not working. Kind of went around those little box things. It's always hard to like use the side of your pencil as you're coming around a bend. Feel free to like whip your page around and stuff. I just kind of keep mine stationary so that you can always see what I'm doing. Usually when I'm drawing at home, I'm like, it's like a little frisbee. And then this one, I just added like a teeny bit of shadow right in that corner. And smudged out. You might have to clean up your edge there. I'm going to outline it using my HB pencil just on the edge there. Okay, and then I use Stadler. Yeah, I can't pronounce it, but it's pretty like basic pencil. I don't know, I've used them for like a bazillion years. Not a bazillion, but you know, a long time. And I love them. I've always stuck with those pencils. They're awesome, and they make really good pencil sharpeners too, and the erasers as well. So that whole brand I just love. I don't particularly like their pencil crowns, but definitely their pencils. Oh, that's because this one's a printed version, so automatically the ink will make it look darker. And also I have a light kind of shining, like if I was to take this away, it is darker. It's just the lighting, because I have to kind of show you what I'm doing. And you can always, like if you want it to look darker, you would obviously go in and you can make your darks darker and your lights lighter. It's all about layering. So, you know, when I did this one, it probably took me like a lot longer, like probably like 5 hours, because I kind of paid attention to those shadows a little bit more. I spent more time kind of adding in some more contrast. That just comes with practice and time and really spending that time and patience doing things. So yeah, it does look different. I'm also using different paper. This is just like a sketch paper, whereas this is like when I did my original, it was on like a heavy bond paper, and it holds the lead a little bit nicer. So yeah, it does look different. Yeah, it's just lighting and stuff. So last but not least is that little shadow underneath, so he's not just floating on the page. I'm using my 4B pencil. You can just use your HB, whatever. Basically just heavy right underneath. And then as you kind of get away from him, just kind of lighten up. Again, you always want like a fade. Okay, and then you can, shadows are never really like drastic or heavy, so you can use your Q-tip and just smudge it out, and it kind of makes like a nice fade. Okay, sometimes when you use your Q-tip, it makes like a line. So at your edges, to soften it, just go in like little soft circles. You wouldn't have that like heavy, like abrupt, well, you might, but to make it look softer. And go like right under his bum. Not that he has one, but kind of like scoop that circle a little bit. And don't forget to sign it. And I would love to see the results. So after I post this, I'll go, you can slice back in with a little bit of highlighting, take out the drastic. So after the video, I'll go and make a little comment section on the event page on our Facebook page. And you guys can post your results because I'd love to see them. So thank you so much for joining. Kind of worked out nicely. My webcam didn't give me too much of a headache today, so thank goodness. So thanks so much. My next one is a flamingo, and that's going to be done in pencil crown. So that one's going to be fun if you want to kind of learn how to do that. I have done Ray. I did do Ray. Teaching a face is like, that would take hours. So I don't know. I would have to do like maybe a stencil, and then you guys could learn that way. So I'll definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, next month in July is a flamingo with pencil crown. So hope to see you guys at that one. Thanks so much for joining. Bye, everyone.